Good morning, everyone. This is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. I'm going to give it a I'm going to give it a few more seconds for everyone to join me this morning. So welcome, everyone. I hope you were able to find me. I switched my 3D Thursday to morning time instead of nighttime. I know a lot of people are working, so you guys can catch me later. So just a few reminders before I get started. My hostess code for February for anyone placing orders online. Make sure you use the hostess code when you check out, and you'll earn some free products from me. My door prize for the month of February is the organza ribbon from Celebration. And as most of you know, this ribbon has been out of stock. We are getting a new shipment. I can't remember the date, but it's coming soon. The only bad thing is we don't know right now if there's going to be enough to open the store up again to have them available, or if there's only enough to fill in the back orders. We did get some news yesterday. For Celebration, we still have both brochures going. So I announced, I think it was last week, that the Grapefruit Grove and Lovely Lipstick foil sheets are no longer available. We now have a second item that has sold out, and that's the Butterfly Elements. So you can no longer order these also. Okay, one more thing I wanted to announce. Paper Pumpkin subscriptions are open until March 10th for the March kit. And everyone that subscribes with me that is new, I will send you all the pieces to create both of these cards in a card kit. So make sure you sign up by March 10th to receive the March kit. So good morning, everyone. I can see you all joining me. I'm so glad you're here. So I am creating a 3D project today for a 3D Thursday, and I'm actually going to be altering a little shopping list that you guys can buy in any dollar store, or I actually got these at Walmart. I think I only paid $1. So I altered this to fit inside a holder, and I have a little pocket here that you can put coupons in or anything like that. These are great for gifts, and they are also great for craft fairs if any of you guys do craft fairs. So the stamps that I'm using this morning is the Falling Flowers. I'm trying to bring back some of the stamp sets from the annual catalog because we've seen so much from the occasions and Celebration. And Falling Flowers also has the Mayflower dies. And to save time, I've gone ahead and stamped and cut out a lot of what I need because there's so much. So I've done the 2 larger flowers, 3 smaller flowers. This is the Little Love die cut. And that actually comes from the Sunshine Wishes dies. This one right here. And then I've also gone ahead and cut the gold foil. I've got some leaves, a couple branches, and a large flower. So those are all ready to go. Now the designer paper I'm using today is the Broadway Bound. You've seen me use it before. I'm actually getting low on a couple of the sheets, but you can see that this paper has the gold foil on one side. And when you flip it over, we have all birthday themed paper. So you have the confetti, the birthday cakes, the birthday hats, balloons, and then these 2 patterns. So this paper has been very popular. So the first thing I'm going to need is a designer paper. Now I used the one with all the numbers on it. This time I'm going to use the one with all the little sparkly stars. And it measures 12 by 9.5 inches. We also need a piece of cardboard. This is the backing from the designer paper. It measures 10 by 3.5. I've got basic black, 8.5 by 3, and gray granite, 8.25 by 2 3/4. And then this little piece of designer paper to match the larger one, which measures 3.5 by 1 1/4. And the only other thing, I use Memento Black ink, the red rhinestone jewels, and then I'm using this large stamp image for the background. Now let me grab my Memento ink pad. I forgot to bring that in. So the first thing I'm going to do is start with my 12 by 9.5 inch paper. And I'm actually going to flip it upside down. This is going to be the front of my project. I want the pocket on this side. If you're left-handed and you prefer to do the pocket on this side, leave it right side up. So I'm going to flip this over. And I'm going to score at 3 3/4, 7 3/4, and 8. That's it for scoring. Next, I'm going to bring in my paper cutter. And for the pocket, it really doesn't matter how accurate you are. All I did was cut it down to an angle. So I'm going to place that on the score line. And I'm going to go down to about, let's see, the 6.5 inch mark. And then I'm going to turn this over and cut at an angle. Let me see, I'm going to have to fold this over so I can fit that in there. So there's where my cutting line stopped. And I'm just going to do an angle cut. And I might have to bring my scissors in just to even that out. Okay, so there's my little pocket. Like I said, I didn't measure. I just kind of eyeballed it, and it works. So next I'm going to score that on the score line and then score my other 2 score lines. Now the 1/4 inch thickness that we have that is formed by the other 2 score lines is actually for the thickness of the pad. Okay, so what you now have is the little flap on this side and then the 2 score lines that are 1/4 inch apart. Next, I'm going to bring in the tear and tape. I'm going to glue down my little pocket. So we just need 2 pieces. And I'll just remove the backing and then flop that over to the panel number 2, and the pocket will be all set. So these would make nice gifts also. Okay, so there's my little pocket. So this is all ready to be decorated. So now I'm going to bring in my little pad. And the reason I did the cardboard is I want this to be a little bit more secure on the designer paper. So I'm also going to score this. So again, this measured 10 by 3.5. I'm going to score at 8.5 and 8 3/4. And what I'm doing here is making the little flap that'll flip up over the pad. I just thought it would be neat to add a little flap on the inside that matches the paper on the outside. So now I'm bringing in the little piece that I've already cut. And that's going to be glued right on the flap. And then I'm just going to add glue to the back of the pad. Oops, and I just ripped that one off. I need to be gentle. I'm going to use the liquid glue. The snail seems to want to pick it up. Make sure you have the seam at the top. And that's going to be butted up against the little score line. So that's how I decorated my pad. Now we're going to glue that on the inside. And I am going to center that. Okay, so this is all you do for the inside. Pretty simple. You wouldn't glue this down because you want people to be able to rip the pad off. So you would leave this just as is. Next, we're going to decorate the front. So I'm going to bring in the basic black. And that's going to be centered. And that really makes the gold foil pop on the designer paper. Now you have two options when you're doing the second layer. I cut it so that it would fit perfectly as layer number 2 on here. But I wanted to create an angle cut there. So again, I'm going to bring in my trimmer. And all I did was remove about 1 inch. So I'm going to make a tick mark. And again, I just kind of eyeballed it just because I wanted an angle. It doesn't have to be measured. Now I'm going to bring in this little swirly image. I'm just going to add some of that to the background. Let's see, we'll add one over here. And then I want a larger one going down the middle, so I'll flip my stamp over. It's a lot easier to ink when it's upside down. So let's see, we're going to squeeze that in right about there. So you can see how pretty that stamp image is. Now let me bring my pad back in. And you could add ribbon to this around the whole thing and tie a bow to keep it closed. There's so many options you could add to this. Okay, there's layer number 2. Now we're going to add all of these goodies here. I'm going to bring in the liquid glue. And I actually started by gluing the gold leaves on the top of the angle cut. So I've got those 2 in there, and then I'm going to add, let's see, we'll do the white flower. And then this big gold flower. I'm pretty much gluing everything flat because if anyone wants to keep this in their car or in their purse, you don't want too many layers popping up with the dimensionals. I couldn't get that out. Now I'm going to tuck this in here. So I'm just kind of gluing everything by tucking under each other. Pretty simple. Just making a cluster. And now we've got 4 little leaves here out of the gold foil. And let's see, I have one right here. So you could go crazy with this stuff, just keep layering. And you'll notice that my angle cut was a little higher on this one, so that I have more black on my second one, and that's okay. And then I just have one more thing to show you. Now, as far as the love, I don't know if you can tell on here, I have the fine tip glue pen on here. It's very, very glossy and shiny. And I wanted to show you how I did that. So I used a piece of wax paper just to protect my surface. Here's my glue. And all I did was fill up the whole die cut. Now, one important thing to make sure, and I just shook my bottle and I have a bubble here that I need to get rid of. Don't shake your bottle when you're opening your glue, because that'll form some bubbles. Okay, so I'm really adding it on quite thick. Let me see, I just need to get my pencil here to hold this down. And another thing you could do with this is actually sprinkle some dazzling diamonds while it's wet, and that is really pretty. Let me see if I can get my lid on. Okay, so this takes at least 30 minutes to dry, but you can see how glossy, it's all wet. And I've got one that's all done. It's just hard for me to show this to you. But it is very shiny, so I'm going to glue that in place. And I'm just going to flop that over all of the layers that I've got down. And lastly is the red rhinestone jewels. Now, when it comes to adding them to the flowers, it's pretty easy because you have all your little dots here that you can line everything up. So yes, I'm using a lot of red rhinestones on here. Let's see, we've got one more. You can never have too much bling. And I just felt that the red really popped against the neutral colors. I just felt that we needed a little bit of an exciting color, and the red really works. Okay, I've got one more to finish off the flower. And then I did go ahead and add some to all the little ends of each swirly. I call them swirlies. I think everybody knows what I mean when I say swirlies. Okay, two more and I'll be done. So you can see how quickly these go on. So there you go. That's my project for today. And you can see the difference in the two designer papers. And again, when you open up the cover, you have a little pocket and a little decorative tab at the top. So I hope you guys like this, and I hope you guys will attempt at doing these. They're really neat. Let me leave one of these open so you can see what the inside looks like. And if you have any questions, make sure you leave me a comment. And for anybody that shares, I will draw a name to win one of these, and I'll mail it to you. So make sure you share my video. And thanks for all the love, everyone. And just a reminder, because of the timing of the days of the month, I will be on again tomorrow for my Friday folds. And it will be at the same time at 10 a.m. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good day.